What is up, my fellow YouTube followers? This is going to be a video that I included in a vlog, but I've decided to make it as a standalone video because it's going to be a little bit longer than what I would like to include, or rather what I typically would include in like a regular vlog per se. So I'm just standing in line at the airport and I'm flying back to Canada right now. Feels weird to be flying back, by the way. I haven't been back in Canada for a while, but anyway. And there's a crazy thing happened. We're supposed to clear customs, right? And so there's two separate lines. There's one line that you would stand in if you have an Indian passport. There's another line that you would stand in if you had a foreign passport, be it Canadian or American or Chinese or Russian or whatever, right? And so I'm standing in obviously the foreign passport line. And it was so crazy. Like as I'm standing in line, I'm the only like brown skinned, like Indian background person who is standing in that line. And as I'm standing, I was like, man, I wish I had an Indian passport. Like, cause I don't know, I really wanted to like identify as an Indian in that moment. I didn't want to, I didn't want the Indians to look around and look at me and be like, oh, he's a foreigner. Like I didn't want that. I was like, oh, I really want to be in that Indian passport line. At the same time, as I'm standing in the foreign passport line, people around me are speaking languages that I understand, be it English or I heard French. There was two people who I believe were Chinese, but they weren't speaking very much, but I'm like 80-90% sure they're Chinese by their look, by their dress, by a couple things. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure they're Chinese. There's some Spanish being spoken. There's like a lot of stuff that I'm understanding. There's this huge crowd of Gujaratis that came by at one point, but they just came in the wrong line. Anyway, I'm understanding what people are saying. And it was this weird paradox of me feeling like, man, I wish I could be in the Indian line, but then in the foreign line having so much fun listening to all these different languages. And things got even weirder as I got up to like the customs desk. Because I got to the customs desk and there's the Indian guy there who's checking my passport and everything. And this guy only speaks Hindi. And he looks at me and assumes that I speak Hindi. Now, before I spoke 0000, didn't understand anything. And now it's to the point where I speak some basic Hindi and I can understand it a lot more than I can speak. So the guy speaking to me in Hindi, I'm understanding his questions, I'm understanding what he's saying, and I'm struggling to respond. So this guy's looking at me like super duper confused. Like I keep asking him. I will sometimes be able to answer him in Hindi, and sometimes I will tell him I don't speak Hindi. So it's like this weird, like something like, yeah, I don't speak much Hindi, and sometimes I'll reply in Hindi, and he's like looking at me like, you're clearly understanding my instruction. Sometimes you answer my questions. Sometimes you, like when I give you an instruction, like take off your cap, take off your glasses, like and look at the picture, you understand, and yet you don't speak Hindi? What? And he was like super duper confused, and it was a really fascinating experience. And I think it goes to show a bit of a language conflict that I have inside of me, which is a couple things. First of all, it has to do with me having an Indian background. Most Indians speak, or let's say most Northern Indians speak Hindi, and I have Northern Indian roots, and so it's really weird for Indians when I say I don't speak Hindi. Like it throws them off, and I feel kind of mad at myself. I feel a little bit ashamed. I feel like really competitive with myself. Like, yeah, I'm gonna learn. Can't wait till I learn Hindi. I feel I have these kind of mixed emotions that come up when I tell people I don't speak Hindi, and it really bothers me, to be honest. It bothers me a lot. The other conflict I have is this conflict of, am I Indian or am I not Indian? It's this kind of weird thing, right? I think a good representation of this is when I was standing in the foreign passport line. I was like, oh, I really want to be in that Indian passport line. And yet, in the Indian passport line, I probably would be thinking like, man, I wish I was in that foreign passport line, because in the Indian passport line, I don't fully fit in per se. I don't really speak Hindi all that well. Like Gujarati is not bad, but it's not, anywhere near what a real Gujarati would be like. So it's this kind of weird paradox. And even in Canada, like here's a fun thing. Like when I'm in Canada, I say I'm Indian, or rather I say I'm Indian, or I'm Canadian with Indian roots. When I'm in India, even though brown skin and everything, I speak Gujarati, all of a sudden I'm Canadian, I'm not Indian anymore. It's this weird like language identity thing. And similarly, even when I'm in France or if I'm in different places, especially when it's a language I speak really well, like French or Spanish, when I'm in that French environment or Spanish country, French speaking country, right? people ask where I'm from because I speak those languages extremely well. And sometimes they think, oh, is this guy native or not? And it's another weird identity thing where I go, yeah, I'm Canadian, but I lived in Peru for a while. I lived in Chile. Like, I really identify with kind of that Latino, or like the whole Latino side of things. I really identify with that the same way that I identify with a lot of, more specifically French, like France, right? I identify with that. And it's just interesting, right? As you learn these different languages, excuse me, it's kind of like you're picking up these different identities along the way, and different cultures and groups of people that you can start to relate to. And nowadays, especially now that I spent probably in total of my life about 3 months in India, two of those months being hardcore recently, I feel a heck of a lot closer to India, a lot closer. And I actually made a podcast about this. That was a really good one. I'll probably make it into a YouTube video if I have some time. But it's interesting now how actually there's an Instagram blog post. You go on my Instagram, there is a blog post about it. It's like the black and white selfie. My eyes are looking kind of this way. You'll see it. There's like a short blog post about it, of how there's a lot of aspects of the Indian culture that I feel quite close to, that maybe I didn't feel so close to before. Now that I've actually lived here and I have a much deeper understanding of it. Be it things like Indians are quite relaxed, right? And way more relaxed about punctuality than maybe in Canada, or like a variety of different things like that. So it's just interesting, right? As you pick up new languages, you start to talk to people of different cultural backgrounds. You start to understand those cultures. You feel closer to those cultures, that even though you're not from that cultural background per se, you still feel like you're halfway there, or 80% there, 60% there, 40% there, versus if you didn't speak that language, maybe you're 0% there or 10% there. So it's cool how languages allow you to get closer to another culture. So anyway, 7-minute video, like I said, would have been weird to have like an 8-minute rant in a vlog, since my vlogs typically are like 9 minutes long, 10 minutes long, 11 minutes long. It'd be weird to have like a big rant in it, but hope you guys like this video. I'm gonna upload it. I'll try and use the Wi-Fi here to upload to see if it's any good and if it's fast. But yeah. Anyway, peace out, guys. I'll be back in Canada. I mean, when I upload this, I'll either be on a plane or I'll already be in Canada. But I'll be in Canada less than 24 hours from now, which is pretty crazy. So, all right, peace out. See ya.